Look at that, finally a new hunt. Okay, so I have a couple of shows watched and ready to discuss in front of you guys today. And then the remaining time, we will go over the school schedule. What? The remaining time, we will, however much remaining time we have, we will go over the school material. That's the schedule. And that will probably be the format moving forward. So, would you believe, yesterday night, there was a small earthquake that happened here. Here in southern Ontario, well, actually it happened a little bit more north from here. It happened in the city of Barrie, which is a little bit higher north than where Toronto is. But to my surprise, an earthquake happened last night. It was a magnitude of like 4 point something. So not a huge earthquake, but one that happened nonetheless. And I gotta say, that's a first for me. I've never experienced an earthquake here before. Last night I actually was pretty tired, so I turned in early. Just as I was dozing off, I heard my family question, "Did you feel that? Did you feel something shaking?" My mom, she saw on her phone that it was just reported a small earthquake just happened in the area. I didn't feel anything. My dad didn't feel anything. Our dog didn't even get up, wasn't even phased. If Toby was still here, he probably would have barked. The only people who felt something was my mom and sister, and funny thing enough, the two of them were upstairs and they felt it. Yeah, I didn't feel anything. I didn't even notice. Alright, so what shows do I have watched today? What is the next group of shows that I am going to go over? Well, I actually have 3 in mind. 3 shows I am currently watching. So the first one is, of course, Oshinoko Season 3. And then, I have just started the first season of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Only because Season 2 is coming out next month. So, no better time to watch it than now. Especially the fact that the next Godzilla movie isn't coming out until next year. So this is, this is something to hold us off until next year. I mean, we are getting Godzilla Minus Zero later this year. So, yay. The first film was incredible. The Japanese really showed Hollywood what a small budget can do. Ain't that crazy? Anyway, so a lot of MonsterVerse goodness coming out this year. Can you believe this franchise, this cinematic universe has been going on for so long? It started in 2013, didn't it? Or was it 2014? No, I think it was 2013. Oh no, it was 2014. So yeah, this franchise has been going on for 12 years. And surprisingly enough, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. 12 years and we've only gotten 5 films. 6th is coming out next year. I mean, these movies are big budgets. You know, big, expensive films that take a lot of time and effort to produce. You know, it's not like the MCU that, well, at least used to pump out a handful of movies every year. So yeah, it's been going on since 2014. Anyways, so Oshinoko, Monarch Legacy of Monsters, as well as Wonder Man. The entire show came out yesterday night. However, today I'm only going to be talking about Oshinoko and Monarch. Only because Wonder Man is new, so brand new. It came out yesterday that it's not online yet. And I ain't spending money to get Disney Plus, cause honestly, the hell with Disney. I ain't spending money and supporting them. It's like what I said over a year ago. I could use I could use the free trial of Disney Plus and watch it, but I'm not wasting a free trial on Wonder Man. Just like when I said, I'm not wasting a free trial for Agatha All Along. I'd rather use a free trial for something like Daredevil Born Again. Which, speaking of Daredevil Born Again, we got the Season 2 trailer for the show. And it immediately looks much better than Season 1. Karen Page is actually in it. We see in the trailer, Foggy Nelson, clean-shaven and long hair, so he looks like the Netflix-era Foggy Nelson. Probably a flashback. And the biggest thing in the trailer, the return of Jessica Jones. I'm very excited for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Mostly because Season 1 was a Frankenstein mess. I enjoyed it, but, you know, it could have been better. Could have been much better. Now that Season 2 has clear direction, a clear vision moving forward, I'm very excited for Season 2. And remember, the period coming up is going to be stacked with 4 different shows. The period from March to April, at least starting, you know, it starts around that time. So starting around March to April, there's going to be 3 bangers and 1 that's finally just going to release. So let's just say 4 shows that are coming out. Invincible Season 4. The Boys Season 5. Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And From Season 4. Anyways, as I was saying, so I'm not going to talk about Wonder Man today because it was really hard to find online. And like I said, I'm not paying for Disney Plus, and I sure ain't wasting a free trial of Disney Plus on Wonder Man. So in the meantime, I will watch it totally legally online. But, you know, that'll need some time. So for now, for today, it will only be Oshinoko and Monarch. And so today I watched the first episodes of both, and I gotta say, I'm very much liking what I'm seeing for both shows. You want to see what I'm up to also? So this is what I'm up to once we check Thundurus. Okay, so here in my Legend ZA, this is a special scan that spawns the Charmander, Torchic, and Fennekin line. I am gonna go for a second Shiny Alpha female Fennekin. A second one. Because I already have this one here. Shiny Alpha Female Braixen. I'm going to go for a second one. Why? Because I want to. So I have this special scan here that has Fire-type starters. The Charmander line, the Torchic line, and the Fennekin line. Ugh. Let's see. The boost I have is Sparkling Power 3 all types, Alpha Power 2. Alpha Power, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. Sparkling level 3 all types, Alpha Power level 2. And as you can see, I'm going back and forth until I get myself a female shiny Alpha Fennekin or Delphox. Because my plan is to evolve into Delphox anyways. So yeah, that's my goal. A shiny Alpha female Fennekin. I will settle for no more, no less. And any bonus shinies will be great. At least it gives me something to do, something to kill the time while I wait for Pokemon Home to update. Earlier today, I did get a shiny female Fennekin, but it wasn't Alpha. So, sacrifices were to be made. So that's what I'm going to do for the next little while. I don't particularly want to be doing this. You know, I want to be grinding so that I can get the special scans for the legendaries to shiny hunt. But the opportunity for this is here right now. So I'm going to take it. Not gonna lie, the motivation's not really all the way here just because I already have a shiny Alpha female Braixen, as you saw. The plan was to always get 2. But right now, the motivation's just not really here to get the second one. And speaking of shinies, today in Pokemon Go, I got a shiny Diglett. Because right now, the event happening in Pokemon Go has shiny boosts for Diglett and Yungoos. Pretty random choices, but whatever. I got myself a shiny Diglett today. Oh, you want to hear something stupid? So, currently, as of this moment, people are still working on the Shiny Keldeo Masterworks research in Pokemon Go. Me personally, I'm on like page 5 of 7, where it's make 300 excellent throws, earn 200 hearts with your buddy, and catch a Pokemon 5 days in a row. So it's time gated again. The previous 2, if I'm not mistaken, were time gated to 3 weeks each. So it's been like almost 2 months. 2 months of time gate, which is so annoying. But whatever. So I looked up what the next set of tasks is, because page 6 of 7 you get shiny Keldeo, and then page 7 is just experience or whatever. It's just to close off the special research. So I saw that to get shiny Keldeo, I need the Platinum Unova Dex medal. I need to have my Unova Pokedex completed to Platinum, so perfected everything. And then my dumbass looked at the Kalos Dex and realized, okay, I'm missing Doublade, Honedge. Wait, I'm missing Doublade and Aegislash. I can evolve a Honedge, no problem. I'm missing Trevenant. That's fine. I can evolve a Phantom, no problem. Oh crap, Hawlucha. That's regional. Uh-oh. So to get shiny Keldeo, I need a Hawlucha. And then I realized, wait a second. I'm supposed to be looking under the Unova Dex, not the Kalos Dex. So I looked at my Unova Pokedex, and there is a handful I'm missing. But all of them are very easy to get. Except for one, kinda. So in my Unova Pokedex in Pokemon Go, I'm missing... Let me think. I'm missing Zebstrika, which is fine. I have 3 98 IV Blitzels I can evolve. I'm missing Cofagrigus, which, same thing. I have 96 IV Yawmasks I can evolve. I'm missing Ferrothorn, which is fine. I think it was a 96 IV shiny Lucky Trade Ferroseed. Perfect. I'm missing Clang and Klinklang, which I would say isn't a problem, but my issue with getting those is I want to evolve a shiny one. Yes, I do have shiny Klink in my game, but I feel like we'll maybe get a Klink community day at some point. Just because, if I'm not mistaken, we've never had Klink before. And, well, we're kind of running low on Pokemon that are 3-stage evolutions that have yet to have a community day, Klink being one of them. And I'm afraid during the community day I'll get a better IV one. Because I think the best shiny... Wait, the best IV shiny Klink I have is like an 11, 10, 11. Which is okay, but I'm just afraid I might get a better one if we were to get a community day. Which honestly isn't that big of a deal. You know, it's just ideal if I maximize the resources, you know? But whatever. So I'm missing Clang and Klinklang. I'm missing Mandibuzz, which also fine. I have a 98 IV Vullaby. And I think the most difficult one for me to get is Volcarona. I did hatch a Hundo Larvesta, so that's like the easiest choice of my life, which Larvesta to evolve. But the problem is the candies, which actually isn't that big of a deal. I'm currently at 350 Larvesta candies, so I only need 50 more. And with the Go Pass bonuses, giving additional rewards, doing raids in person, I'll get those rare candies in no time. And besides, what I like to do with my, my guaranteed shiny mythical encounters in Pokemon Go is I like to catch them on special days. So even if I do finish the Keldeo research tasks, the shiny Keldeo research tasks, I'm probably going to save it for a special day in the future to catch it, so it has that date. Now, what special day am I thinking of? I'm kind of thinking of catching it on Toby's birthday. Toby's birthday is in July. So if I want to catch my shiny Keldeo in Pokemon Go on a special day, I might actually wait until July 17th to catch it, because that's Toby's birthday. I've already caught several Pokemon, several special Pokemon on Billy's birthday, April 1st. So I think this time I should probably hold off for July 17th. That is 6 months away. But, it's worth it. I can at least encounter it and see what the CP is, But yeah. Because I think I caught my regular Keldeo, I saved my regular Keldeo encounter, and I caught it on my mom's birthday, just because at the time, that was the most recent upcoming date. I don't even remember when I started doing this, because I didn't do that for every Shiny Mythical. I only did that when the idea popped into my head. I think I saved Meloetta, Shiny Meloetta for a special date. Let me see, actually, because of course I wrote it all down. Oh no, Meloetta. Also caught July 17th, 2025, Toby's birthday. So I will have Meloetta and Keldeo caught on Toby's birthday 1 year apart. Worth it. I can't find... Oh, never mind. Here it is. Maybe I did start from the beginning, because I see here Mew, Shiny Mew in Pokemon Go, which don't forget I paid like 20 bucks for. Shiny Mew in Pokemon Go, I caught on my birthday, 2022. What about Celebi? Did I do anything special for Celebi? I don't... On my list here, it says I have 8 Celebis. Makes sense. Let's see. Celebi, I actually caught before Mew. Celebi, I caught February 14th, 2021. So Valentine's Day. Jirachi. Also Toby's birthday. July 17th, 2023. Well, Manaphy's not in Pokemon Go yet. No Shiny Victini, period, at all, ever. Not really a mythical, I think. Like, is this the Ditto? I think so. Let's see. I forget which year it was. I feel like it was... Actually, it probably was that Ditto. In Pokemon Go, you had a special research that guarantee gave you a shiny Ditto. I saved that for Billy's birthday. I think I caught it April 1st, 2021. Oh yeah, earlier tonight my dad was talking to the family. He threw out the idea that maybe we as a family go on a trip to England. I mean, that'd be cool. I'll be honest, I kind of don't really want to go on a trip with my dad. The last time I went on a trip with him, he was a real pain. Anyways, but just like it was cool to see my dad point out where he grew up in Hong Kong, that filth of a city that I don't like visiting, I guess it would be cool to have him point out where he grew up in England. I forget what age he said he moved to England and lived there for how long. I don't remember if my dad said before he turned 18 or after he turned 18. He moved to England for how many years. And then went back to Hong Kong, met my mom, moved to here, and then a couple years later, my sister and I popped out. My dad was reminiscing on his buddies from England, what, like 50 years ago? How nuts would that be? 50 years later, my dad goes back and his buddies are still there and they remember him. We're talking 50 years ago. Anyways, enough blabbering, because I'm totally not just pushing back me going over the study material, or just the school material. Let's actually talk about these shows. Man, gotta say, like I said earlier, I very much enjoyed the 2 shows that I watched today. It's so nice not having a single soul out there I can discuss these with. Because a certain asshole who recommended the goddamn show to me, yeah, he jumped ship. Motherfucker. And the other one, well, genuinely nobody's interested to watch. Out of everyone I know, literally 0 people have watched Monarch. I would argue negative. But at least in the March to April period, I can actually have shows that these douchebags watch to discuss with. Invincible, The Boys. Well, not really Daredevil. And From, him again. At least The Boys and Invincible I'll actually have people to talk about with. You want to know a ridiculous idea I had? Just a little side idea. It's a really stupid idea, but it would just be something I think is absolutely hilarious. So, we all know that both Hazbin Hotel and Invincible are on Amazon Prime. I'm not proposing a crossover per se. What I am suggesting is a guest character in the game. The game Invincible Versus. Wouldn't it be hilarious to see, like, Alistair show up? Just because they're both animated IPs on Prime Video. A little bit of promotion for both animated shows. Can you imagine Invincible or Omni-Man fighting Alistair? How stupidly awesome would that be? I mean, why is that so hard to believe? We got Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat, didn't we? And Homelander. And those are 2 shows on Prime Video as well. Then again, I think Homelander would make more sense to be in Invincible Versus. But yeah, wouldn't that be hilarious to see someone like Alistair in Invincible Versus? Because I don't think any other Hazbin character would make sense. Charlie's not really much of a fighter. Vaggie is kind of underwhelming as a pick. Angel Dust, not that exciting. I feel like Alistair would make the most sense if they were to have a Hazbin Hotel character in Invincible Versus. That would just be stupid and hilarious, and I would love it. Anyways, so let's actually jump into the shows. So up first, we're going to discuss Oshinoko Season 3, Episode 1. Now, the season's not done yet. Literally 2 episodes of the season has aired. So I will have to deal with this. I will have to tackle the episodes as they air. And I gotta say, I really liked what I'm seeing. I'm very interested. Ever since the plot really thickened in Season 2, I'm very excited to see how the show is gonna play out. Because in Season 2, I still don't know what the loophole is that Akane figured out. I purposely am not spoiling myself so that the moment it gets revealed, I'm just like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Yeah, that's so obvious. Why didn't I think of that? But I really can't think of a loophole. Alright, so Season 3 of Oshinoko takes place 6 months after the end of Season 2, where B. Kamachi has actually risen in popularity. So to begin, we actually see the growth of the K-pop group. We see that Memcho is actually going over how they're growing their brand. Their YouTube channel. It's funny to see a show like this literally name drop real life things like YouTube, TikTok. It name dropped Twitter before it became X. Like, it's so crazy to see the show actually name drop stuff. But there's an example of this later on that I guess they couldn't get the rights to. So yeah, we see Memcho break down how exactly they're growing their brand. So Memcho now manages their YouTube channel. She invests more money and time into the group channel than she does her own YouTube channel. You know, she's reaching out and collabing with other YouTubers, gamers. Because, you know, in order to stay in the limelight, to get your video recommended, you need to... You need to collab with other big players on the platform, and then that'll show up in their recommended. Introducing you to a wider audience. And then we also see... So we see what the characters are up to. We obviously. And I also gotta say, I love the new opening. Now, the song is gonna give me some time to... it's gonna take me some time to get used to the opening song, just because I feel like the Season 2 opening song was an absolute banger. But I do like the direction they went with Season 3. Season 3 is straight up the opening. It's straight up just a B. Kamachi performance. I gotta say, I love it. We don't really see them perform as a group that much in the show, at least so far. So for the opening sequence to literally just be them performing on stage, brilliant. But oh no, what else do we see in the opening sequence? Or rather, who else? Their father. Their disgusting father watching. I don't know what this guy's deal is yet. I said at the end of Season 2 that we may be dealing with a genuine serial killer. Because I wasn't his only victim. We saw that he had another victim recently. And is he so cold-hearted to potentially go after his own daughter? Perhaps. We don't know yet. We don't know anything about this character yet. But the fact that he's watching them so closely in the opening sequence... Yikes. And then we see also in the opening sequence this other new character. Whatever his name is, but we meet him at the end of the episode. Or rather, we get introduced to him. So moving on, we see where our characters are now that 6 months has passed. We see that Aqua actually has himself a role on what looks like a gaming talk show. Which, good for him. He even gets gig modeling for magazine covers and whatnot. So, you know what? Good for him. Remember, at this point in Aqua's life, he has let go all of the burden of vengeance. He is in the belief that their father is dead, so there is no one to seek revenge on. So he can finally move on with his life in peace. But like I said, whatever loophole Akane figured out, he doesn't know either. Akane doesn't want to tell him, because then he'll just spring back into his gloomy, depressing, vengeance-ridden self. And speaking of Akane, we see where she's at now. She just wrapped filming on a movie role where she stars in, along with some other guy that nobody cares about. Wait a second, so 6 months has passed and she filmed an entire movie where she was the lead? Or co-lead? Wow. I mean, I'm assuming it's a smaller budget film, not heavy on the action or choreography or whatnot. Because 6 months to shoot an entire film, that's a pretty quick turnaround time. I mean, of course, at the initial filming, there's still potential reshoots she may have to return for. And here's where I say they probably didn't get the rights to, because we see on the big Jumbotron, it's advertised that the film is gonna be on Netflix. Not Netflix, Netflix. Spelled with an O. The logo is green as well, Netflix. Unless Japan has their own streaming service called Netflix I don't know about. Yeah, it kind of seems like they didn't get the rights to say Netflix. Oh boy, I can't wait to watch some Netflix. I can't wait to Netflix and chill. Anyways, so we follow this group of random nobodies, unless they become bigger characters later in the season. We meet 3 characters who are running an idol shop. Idol CDs, idol posters, whatnot. And one of the guys who literally just straight up looks like a Redditor is gushing at B. Kamachi playing on TV. They were talking about this like big stadium arena place that a bunch of pop stars and idols perform in. But that place is kind of like high class premium performance location, where only the biggest of big stars perform there. So if a group like B. Kamachi wants to perform there, they not only need to get bigger, but they also need to stay a group until they get that chance. Because the dude said a lot of groups don't make it past however many years it takes for their fan base to get that large, so where they can perform there. These guys also point out some of the B. Kamachi cast members are a little different now. Everyone's able to tell that Ruby, she doesn't act so innocent and lively anymore. Now she's a little more calculating and dark, as if she has an ulterior motive in mind. Wow, people in this world are super observant because they nailed it. They hit it in the bullseye. Does it really come across that obviously? Because remember, at the end of Season 2, Aqua may have let go of his vengeance, but then in a way, that vengeance manifested in Ruby, after she realized that not only has her mother been killed, but also the man she loves, the doctor. And he was killed a long time ago. So vengeance is now on Ruby's mind. So people are able to tell that Ruby's different, but they also are able to tell that Kana is different. She doesn't seem very happy anymore. And, well, even I know the direction they're going in. Well, these dweebs in the idol shop think it's because a new member is about to join the group. which I don't know if Akane will or not. She's kind of busy with films and movies. Damn, I really wish I had that life. That'd be awesome. I would literally kill to be in that position. I will draw blood in a heartbeat. What? So, we know the reason Kana isn't very happy anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, I know how she feels. I've been in that position too many times to count. Trust me. Because Kana, she's heartbroken. It's because, flashback, Aqua straight up basically told her to her face, hey, I decided to start dating Akane for real now. And oof, that stings worse than a literal knife to the heart. To have the person you like tell you to your face, hey, I'm dating this person now. Yeah, that's rough. That's very rough. And Kana has had these feelings festering for the past 6 months. So, the guy that Kana likes is dating someone else. And worst of all, someone Kana believes is better than her in every way. Yeah, that really stings. I know exactly how that feels. So anyways, we see our characters, they're doing their own lives. We get glimpses of what their lives are like now. After this show or performance or whatever it was, our characters are being driven home, and Kana just asked to be dropped off somewhere. But Memcho, she knows exactly what's going on. Because remember, was it in Season 1? Season 1 very quickly was able to realize, oh no, Kana is into Aqua, so is Akane. I'm friends with them both, who do I root for? So Memcho, being a real one, just sits by Akane and just comforts her. You know, she just straight up says, I know you've been pretty down lately. It's because of Aqua, isn't it? So yeah, Akane just spills. It's not just the fact that Aqua is now with Akane. It's also the fact that Aqua's basically ignoring her. Every time she comes over, he just retreats back to his room and doesn't speak to her, doesn't see her. Even at their live performances, Aqua doesn't show up. Because remember what Aqua did for Kana? He very straight face with those light sticks did that little dance for her to cheer her up during her performance. So, damn, just to add insult to injury, not only is he dating someone else, he just straight up ignores you now. And you know what? At least this is healthy for Kana. She at least was able to let it out. Having Memcho bring it up and actually be willing to sit and talk with her about it. Kana gets to scream, get to cry, get to really let her emotions out. At least she was able to do that. Me, on the other hand, every time I was in that position, I just held it all in and let it all fester, telling no one. So at least she has that for her, that Memcho was able to be by her side. So Memcho is just like, man, I'm gonna do something about this. So she goes all the way to where Aqua's film lot is and meets with him as he's done filming. Aqua, he's super exhausted since they filmed like 4 episodes in a row. Oof. The struggles of being an actor. Again, I would love to be in that position because it'd be mad fun. All the struggles, I would think it would be so fun. But Aqua, he's sharp. You know? Aqua is sharp. He knows that they didn't just happen to bump into each other. No. Memcho was probably waiting there, wanting to speak with him. Aqua at first brushes her off like, let's actually meet up when we both have time. But Memcho very quickly is just like, when will that be? A month from now? Everyone's schedules are so busy now with the idol group, your show. Our schedules never line up anymore. We're all super busy. So Aqua's just like, fine, let's talk. Let's go somewhere with a couch at least, because he's super tired, he wants to at least sit down. And I think they just go to Memcho's place. Gee, Aqua, I don't know why you had to bring this up. Aqua's just like, you know it's illegal in Japan for an adult to bring a minor out somewhere past curfew or whatnot, right? Just like, damn, why'd you have to mention it like that, bruh? Like, damn. Wasn't even like that, but still, like, why'd you have to mention it like that? Anyways, so they have a talk. Aqua instantly knew that this was gonna be about Kana. Because when Memcho sat next to him on the couch, Memcho's just like, you know, you're really hurting Kana right now. Because it's a pretty dick move for a guy to basically lead her on just to ghost her right after. And yes, what you did with her would be labeled as leading her on. So I feel like you should probably talk to her and fix this. Because she's really upset right now. Because of you. But then, for some reason, Aqua gets on top of her. Pins her to the couch. He did that just to really get his point across. But I feel like you probably didn't have to do that. Because that was mad awkward. But anyway, so Aqua, with that serious gaze in his eyes, that like he always has, he just straight up told to Memcho's face, you don't think I don't know what I'm doing? You don't think that I want... Wait, you think I want to hurt Kana like this? You don't think I don't know what I'm doing to her? Let me break down to you why I'm doing this. So remember the epiphany Aqua had in Season 2. Kana is a famous idol right now, and she's only going to get more famous. The public, they don't really react kindly when they find out their favorite idol has a boyfriend. And, would you believe? Yes, that happens in real life too. But yeah, let's say hypothetically, if it were leaked out that Kana has a boyfriend or someone that she's been seeing. What if that leaks out to the public? What if a crazy deranged fan decides to take action and kills her, tracks her down and kills her? Aqua will not allow that to happen again. Said it straight to Memcho's face. Now, I'm kind of surprised Memcho didn't question again. What do you mean again? You mean you've had this experience before? I'm sure Memcho has heard about the Ai Hoshino story. But, you know, she if she hasn't, then I'm surprised she hasn't questioned again. What do you mean again? When has this happened before? And to you? But yeah, Memcho realizes, damn, I thought this whole time Kana was down bad for him. But no, if anything, it seems like he's even more down bad for her. But he's protecting her in his own way, and after everything Aqua went through, you can't blame him. He's absolutely right for thinking this way, because it has happened before. You might question, well, isn't that the case for Akane? She's a famous celebrity now as well, and if they find out that she has a boyfriend, wouldn't someone maybe do the same to her? Well, I was thinking that at first too, but then you remember that Aqua and Akane were on a show together, and then they came out as a couple already. I mean, it was just for the attention, it wasn't really serious. But to the public, they already know about this. Because remember, it was like a romance show that they were starring in together. And then, oh my, the actors playing the characters on the romance show actually fell in love in real life, and they're together now. You know, fans hearing that about their romance show will be like, oh my god, that's so great! The actors are together now. You know, it's not the same for idols as it is for actors. So, no, it's perfectly fine for Aqua and Kana's relationship to be public, but not for... Wait, did I even say that right? For Aqua and Akane's relationship to be public, but not for Kana, just because she's kinda got a different status when it comes to her publicity. Anyway, so moving on from that storyline, so we see at school, Ruby is talking with two of her friends, not really that important, the girl who literally just looks like a snake. You know, she's watching the show that Aqua's on, and then she's thinking, I'll probably work with your brother at some point. Because, you know, they're all actors, they're all celebrities. Eventually their careers will cross paths. So, Ruby's other friend is just like, hey, why don't you ever work with your brother? You know, coming out as twins would probably be good publicity. Ruby's just like, yeah, about that. And then Ruby just makes a surprise appearance on the show that Aqua's on. Aqua even stares at his producer like, what the hell, man? So yeah, Ruby just makes a guest appearance on Aqua's show. So after the shoot is done, Aqua just goes to his producer and basically just goes, what the hell, man? But to his surprise, the producer guy just says, it wasn't my idea. It was actually your sister's idea. She pitched an idea to me the last time I was at a B. Kamachi concert. She approached me, she even had a stack of papers too, ready to pitch the idea to me. And I liked it. So, for the past few months, we were working on getting it done, getting it to work out. Even Aqua's like, when did that happen? Huh? My sister did that. Why did she do that? And so we see the final scene of the episode. We see Ruby approach this brand new character, whatever the hell his name was. I'm sure I'll remember his name later on. This dude fishing, and we see Ruby just approach him, and then we see the guy's face, and that's the end of the first episode. Pretty good episode, I'm not gonna lie. His name is John Producer. So, my quick theory is the fact that Ruby is trying to fish out the killer that she's after now, the guy who not only killed her mother, but also killed the man she loves. Which, by the way, if Aqua was still alive as the Doctor, then that matchup would be absolutely insane. Now, I'm not gonna go into what I think, but the legal age in Japan is different from ours. And we know for a fact that Ruby is 16. She literally said it in the episode. You know, if she knew the Doctor was still alive, she would absolutely go find him, explain the insanity that is, I'm Sabrina, I died, and here I am now. I can prove it. And then she just says something only she and the Doctor would know. The show literally showed us, or told us, that the Doctor was previously... Aqua was previously like a 30-something-year-old Doctor. And given that at least 16 years has passed, given the fact that Ruby is 16, he would have been like 45, 46 with the 16-year-old. That matchup would have been absolutely insane. But thankfully, the show clearly isn't like that. Unfortunately, the show is something else when it comes to these one-day lovers. Man, all you motherfuckers out there are put off by the show because of that one little glaring issue with the end game of the story. But you're forgetting the fact that this story, the actual show, has an incredible plot. Me personally, though, I'm very interested. I very much like how the show dives relatively deep into what showbiz and idol culture is kind of like behind the scenes. How busy it is, booking all these roles, how busy schedules get filled up. Like Memcho was saying in the beginning of the episode, how many collabs you need to reach out and do in order to keep relevance and build up your brand. Yeah, I like how realistic this all seems. As realistic as you can get for two people reincarnated and born as siblings. But yeah, I'm very curious. And the fact that their monster of a father is in the opening credits, the opening scene for the season, kind of tells me he's going to be, I don't know, a big part in the season. He's going to play a part somehow. I'm very curious to learn how this human scum is going to be like. Watch it be a plot twist. He's actually an amazing guy who had nothing to do with Ai's death. How ridiculous would that be? That'd be the biggest plot twist of all. But then, if that was the case, there would be no plot in the story. That would destroy the whole show. The whole concept. But yeah, I'm very much interested in the show. Everyone else out there won't even give it a chance, given the end game of the show. You know what's another anime I've really enjoyed, but the plot... Well, no, I enjoyed the plot very much, but the way the show was just too much and very off-putting for a lot, which I understand. Food Wars. You know how every time someone took a bite and all their clothes would disappear? Yeah, even I found that to be a little bit much as the later seasons progress, but if you look past that, the show actually has a really good plot. I was very much into it. But yeah, all the foodgasms was a bit much as the show progressed. It was actually pretty stupid later on in the show when they made it like legit in real life. In the earlier seasons when someone took a bite of their food, it would just be a visual that didn't actually happen. But then later on, their clothes genuinely disappeared. Like there was actually a supernatural play afoot. Which was so stupid. Here, look at this. Or rather, listen to this. The asshole who suggested Oshinoko to me, I'm rubbing it in his face. I am telling him, wow, so great that you recommended this to me. And, you know, how nice of you to abandon ship, leaving me with no one to discuss this with. make me care about this, only to dip out. I swear to God. And then he literally just replied me. He said, because the manga, bro. Motherfuck. Like I said, all you motherfuckers out there don't even want to give the show, the plot, a chance just because the ending. Just because of what we kind of build towards at the end. When, honestly, throughout the show so far, there has been zero hints of that being the case at all. But what use is there of me complaining, right? Nobody's gonna hear, nobody's gonna care. So, I'm very excited to see where the story plays out. Or how the story plays out. Look at this! There's a shiny Fennekin right there. But I'm not gonna catch it, because it's not shiny alpha. And goodbye. You know, this show comes off very innocent, but there's a very dark background tone to it. A secondary tone of grief, vengeance, revenge. Like the ending to the very first long episode was very dark, seeing Ai get killed right in front of her kids. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on to Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. This show came out over 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. I've been meaning to watch it ever since, but just never found the time or motivation to. But now that Season 2 is coming out, in like a month from now, no better time to watch it than now. Also, like I said, it'll hold us off until the next Godzilla movie comes out next year. And then Godzilla -0 in November. Can't wait for that. First episode was literally the best episode. Did you watch the rest of the show? Did you give it a shot? Yeah, I didn't think so. You know, another reason I'm actually relatively into Oshinoko, aside from the plot, which I'm very excited to see play out, is the fact that they dive deep into, like, showbiz and idol culture. I'm not necessarily into the idol culture one, but the showbiz one, yes. Yes. That's right up my alley, too. So anyways, I've always been a little hesitant to watch Monarch. Just because, well, first of all, I knew pretty much nothing about the show besides it was connected. I wasn't really sure how connected it would be. So, I was a little hesitant because I was thinking this show, from what I heard, was a prequel. So I was thinking it would be set way before any of the films. And kind of don't relate to the films at all. Like, it would be very much standalone. And let me tell you, after seeing the movies, yeah, you absolutely can go without watching the show. Unless there's a reference to the show I missed in the movies, just because I hadn't watched the show yet, it really does seem like the show is very much standalone. So yeah, I wasn't sure how connected it would be to the films. I thought it would be a prequel set before everything, and just not reference at all in the films. Now, I don't know about the referencing part, but to my surprise, No, it's very connected. It is very, very much connected. Like, the show is entirely influenced by the first two films. Oh, here, take a look. There's another shiny Fennekin. Here, look at this. Another shiny Fennekin. That will be sent to the Shadow Realm. And there it goes. But yeah, this show is entirely influenced by the first two films. Alright. So the show opens up with a flashback to the year 1978 on Skull Island. Whoever this guy was, maybe we got a name, I don't think it really matters. 1978, this exploration guy is recording a video, like, as his last message. And we see him running for dear life because he's being chased by one of the giant spider creatures. The ones that we saw in the film. He gets cornered on a cliffside to where the water is. So, as his final act, he throws his bag into the ocean, hoping that his research, his information will be found one day. And, well, he turns around and gets ready to embrace death. But a giant rock crab shows up, literally from the ground he's standing on, and fights off the giant spider. So the two of them are fighting, and then they end up in the ocean. And the idiot decided not to run for dear life, run to safety, but instead go to the cliffside and see over the edge if they're really gone or not. He sees his bag floating away in the water. You know, it's kind of too late to get it back now. So that was 1978. Fast forward to the year 2013, we see a fisher, a fishing boat outside the seas of Japan haul in a big net of fish and that bag. That, first of all, that is absolutely ridiculous. 1978 to 2013, that bag would have been long gone in the ocean. Any chances of it being recovered would have been zero. You're telling me that for, 40 years, that bag not only wasn't lost, it didn't sink to the bottom of the ocean, it wasn't eaten by something, it wasn't destroyed and torn apart. No, that bag was floating in the ocean for 40 years and was perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. It looked like there was no water damage at all on the bag, let alone what was inside. And it was just floating in the ocean for 40 years. That is so ridiculous, but fine, whatever. So the fishing boat picks up the bag. We see this one guy, dig apart the fish and found the bag. But then he gets told to go back to work. So he just puts the bag aside and presumably he keeps it. Alright. So that was all the flashback scenes, except for the B plot of the film. The main plot of the film, we see... Alright, so we meet our presumably main character. Who knows, maybe this will be like Welcome to Derry, where the characters we think is the main character gets killed off right away. And then we follow different characters. So we meet our main character. Her name is Kate. And she is on a flight to Tokyo, Japan. Just as she's about to land... just as she landed and was about to get off the plane, the very kind gentleman next to her told her, wait, not yet. Because these guys in hazmat suits board the plane and spray them off to disinfect them. The guy says they think disinfecting people before they come off board will prevent another attack, another incident. Which is ridiculous. when I went to Japan, they sure as hell didn't disinfect us after we left the plane. Especially considering this was after a certain global event that happened a couple years prior. Alright, so we see Kate get off the plane. She's walking in the airport, and there are Godzilla signs everywhere. Godzilla signs on the floor. But we don't learn what these are for yet. Alright, so she's leaving the airport. She gets a cab. So she's in a taxi going to a location. And to my surprise, there's a lot of English. What the hell? When I went to Japan, there wasn't a hint of English. Oh, wait, before that. So, she went through the Japanese airport, and for some reason, I don't know why airports do this, because it's not like people can lie out of their ass. Airports, they question you, what is your reason for visiting? You know? I don't even know why they ask that. You know, if you're here for a bad reason, you could just lie and be like, oh, I'm here for travel. When in reality, I'm a hired hitman and I'm here to kill someone. I mean, I'm here to sightsee. But yeah, she gets asked that and she says, oh, my father died recently and I'm here to settle some affairs. So, business, I suppose. Family business. So, yeah, she gets granted access into the country, and we see stamped onto her passport or flight documents 2015. So this show takes place in 2015, which is 1 year after the San Francisco incident in 2014. 1 year, taking place 1 year after the very first film, where, yes, Godzilla did attack San Francisco. Well, more on that afterwards. Can you believe the first film was 16 years ago? What, 16? Was 12 years ago? Why did I say 16? I mean, the fact that this show connects so heavily to the very first Godzilla film, you know, we're not going to see Wanda and Elle and Ford show up. Honestly, they've kind of abandoned those characters. It seems like ever since King of Monsters, they kind of found their cast. Yeah, ever since King of the Monsters, they're set on the cast of Millie Bobby Brown, Brian Tyree Henry, everyone else. Which is such a shame. You know? Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Taylor Johnson, they kind of got done dirty. They were in the first film, they started it all, and they've never reappeared since. Like, what the hell? Regardless, anyway, so yeah. Kate is taking a taxi to the place she's going, and I'm just thinking, this place looks nothing like Japan. The aesthetics I'm seeing as she's driving, or as she's in the taxi, looks more like Hong Kong. The taxi looks more like Hong Kong. The settings look more like Hong Kong. What the hell? This looks nothing like Japan. And like I said, there was a lot of English in this episode to where the taxi driver even speaks to her in English. And I'm just thinking, this is not what I experienced. When I went to Japan for 4 days, there was zero English anywhere. Not a trace of English. But yet in the show, people just casually know English, albeit a broken degree, but still. There's also English signs put up. Which, like I said, when I went to Japan, not a hint of English anywhere. I'll give some credit to the airport. Because the lady who asked Kate, why are you coming to Japan? I'll give it that. The airport probably would benefit from the staff knowing English. But still, yeah, to my surprise, there was a lot of English in this show, which makes sense. It's an American production, but, like, Japan barely has any English at all. Anyways, so we learn why Kate is in Japan. She's going to her father's apartment. For what exactly? We actually don't know yet. It's not actually stated why she's there. She just is there and doing whatever. So she makes it to her father's apartment. She has a giant jingle of keys, and she's testing out each key to see which one opens the door. At the same time, she's on the phone with her mom. And once she figured out which key opens the door, she's just like, "Mom, I'll call you back," and hangs up. She walks into the apartment, sees a bunch of hanging pictures, but then realizes, wait a second, there's people living here. There is a woman living there, as well as her son. You know, the mother doesn't speak English, so she doesn't, to her, a stranger just walked into her house. Oh yeah, I also gotta say too, that apartment was huge. Was absolutely enormous. Damn, how rich was this man? Because that apartment was enormous. You know how small living spaces are in Asia? Anyways, so because the mother can't really communicate with her, out comes the son, Kentaro. And he's able to speak English, albeit very well. Surprisingly well. So, Kate tries to explain, I'm here because of my father. The picture you have up is of my father. And then we quickly learn, hey, this woman and her son is Kate's father's other family. The cheating dirtbag. He had a family in San Francisco, and he also had a family in Japan. You dirty, dirty man. So, that's plot A of the film, which we will return to. So, this episode jumps back and forth between the A and B plot line. The B plot line actually is a flashback to 1958, was it? Sometime in the 1950s. And we have three characters we meet. We meet Lee, played by Wyatt Russell. Yeah, the best actor in the world. I think we dogpile on Wyatt Russell a little too much. I think he's a fine actor. He's good enough. Not like I can do any better. But yeah, we meet the characters of Lee, Billy, and Kai. Or not, and Kay. Sorry, it's Kay. And they are quote-unquote scientists on their way to somewhere to investigate. This place is supposed to be very radioactive. I mean, I would assume so. They're going to what looks like a destroyed, abandoned nuclear facility. They put on their hazmats, or rather gas masks. No hazmat suits. They put on a mask just to try to not die from the radiation. Like, they picked up radiation with their whatever device it was, like 1,000 meters away. But then when they get close enough, first of all, it's a restricted area. They're met with a young boy with a gun. A young white boy who speaks perfect Japanese. I'm actually not sure where this is set. If this is set in Japan or America. It might be Japan, I'm not sure. But for some reason, there was a white boy, a literal white child, who speaks perfect Japanese. So Kay is able to communicate, because she's Japanese as well, so they communicate. It turns out that the whole radiation thing It's just a fairy tale just to ward off any curious souls who wants to come in and investigate. So they quickly realize, oh yeah, there is no radiation. Let's look around. Okay, so back to plot point A. We see that Kate is, sit down and speaking with supposedly her half-brother and his mother. Understandably, Kentaro wants proof that you are our father's daughter, right? Like, how do I know that you, the stranger who walked into her house, really is my father's secret child that I never knew about? She has proof. She has pictures on her phone of herself and their father. You know, it's kind of crazy. To each side, they both believe that their mother is the side piece. They don't know who the father cheated on first. Ain't that crazy? And not like it really matters anymore. Supposedly, their father's dead. But they're worried. Kentaro and his mother, they don't know where their father is. Kentaro's mother, I think her name is Keiko. Keiko tries to speak English, like, can you tell us what happened to him? Where is he? Well, we see that Kate, she kinda is traumatized by what happened. I'll get into that afterwards. She doesn't really want to share what happened to their father just because, well, she just learned that her father was a cheating douchebag who had a secret family. So she leaves without explaining what happened to him. As she leaves, she's on the phone with her mother, refusing to tell her poor mother, like, how do you tell your mother that? How do you tell her, hey, Dad had a whole secret family over here. He had another wife. He has a son over here. Like, how do you tell your mother that? So Kate just opts not to tell her mother that. But then it's almost hinted like Kate's mother knows. She's just like, what did you find in that apartment? Who was there? Wait, did you know? Know what? Mom, did you know? Know what? I don't know what you're talking about. Know what? Before the conversation can continue, there is a warning on the phone, an emergency broadcast. So we see everyone local to Japan running in a certain direction. Kate has no idea what's happening. But then Kentaro and his mother show up. I assume they were already following her, because there's no way they would have made it there that quickly, because the emergency signal happened like 10 seconds ago. So I assume they were already on their way to follow her. Kentaro reveals that that emergency signal is a warning sign of Godzilla. Godzilla may be approaching the city. And that is what all the Godzilla signs are for, even in the airport. If there's an emergency broadcast signal that Godzilla may be approaching, you follow those signs to the safe spots. Those are secure locations you hide in if there is a monster attack in the city. That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. So they go down to the subway station. I don't know if that's the safest place, because the weight of Godzilla may just cave in the entire underground system, but in a quick emergency getaway, yeah, I guess that'll suffice. So everyone is cramped up underneath in the subway tunnels. And Kentaro, well, first of all, we see throughout the episode that he's kind of a dick. I'm sure he'll become more likable right now, but, for now, I can see why he's acting so much like a dick. He just found out his father was a cheating asshole. He has a half-sister he never knew about and just met. And also, borderline kind of just broke into their house. Like, he's very defensive. He's very hesitant to accept, okay, this woman who just randomly broke into her house really is my sister. And my dad kind of wasn't shit. So I get why he's acting like such an ass. You know, he's even constantly thinking. He even expresses to his mother, had he been here with us instead of over there with you, he could have been here to help and protect us right now in the event of a monster attack. So Kate kind of doesn't know what's going on. She's worried that there really may be a Godzilla incident happening right now. Kate questions, what if this is just a test? What if it's just a drill? You know? Or what if it really happens? Kentaro's just like, wouldn't you know what to do if it were to be real? Weren't you in San Francisco when the event happened? And then amazingly, we actually cut to a flashback that takes place during the first Godzilla movie. On the bridge. The bridge, we see that Kate was there. And she's in a school bus. I assume she's working? Like she's a staff member of the school? I highly doubt she's a student because the kids look like 10 to 15 years younger than she is. Then again, I highly doubt she had a growth spurt compared to the rest of the kids. So I'm just going to assume Kate really was a staff member with the kids on a field trip. So we see in the flashback, Kate was in the bus, was in a bus on the bridge during the incident in San Francisco in the first Godzilla movie. We see that, you know, a lot of rubble is flying around. The ground is shaking because they're on a bridge that's about to come down. So we see the bus driver gets knocked out and Kate's kind of panicking. She's in a bus full of kids. What do I do? There's literally a ginormous monster tearing apart the bridge. So we see that she left the bus. She exited the bus from the back door and tried her best to get the kids out. But like I said, there was flying debris everywhere, breaking and damaging the bridge even more. She couldn't make it in time to help all the kids. The bus fell off the bridge with a couple of kids still in it. And that's what she's traumatized by. Not just a giant monster attacking the Golden Gate Bridge while she was there, but also the fact that she couldn't save all the kids in the bridge. Some did go down with the bus. So, Kate almost has a panic attack, tries to run out of the subway station, but then she kind of gets stopped by Kentaro's mother. They needed to wait for the all-clear sign. And yes, they got the all-clear sign, so there was no Godzilla approaching. Alright, so the coast is clear. All the civilians in Japan just go back to their normal lives. Kentaro, though, he wants to show Kate something. They go to this location that supposedly was their father's office, where he worked in. On the wall, there was a giant map with lots of locations on it. But Kate realizes, hey, feels like there's something behind the map. She tears it off. There's a safe on the wall. Trying to get into it, she's just like, my birthday doesn't work. Kentaro, what's your birthday? What's your mother's birthday? Neither of them worked. So she tried something that actually worked. She found a code that actually worked. She needed no time at all. And I can't believe... that writing was so weak, in my opinion. So what was the code? It was a combination of all of their birthdays. She said something like, my birth month, your birth date, your mother's birth year. There is no way you would have thought to do that. And that combination happened to work. It could have been anything. It didn't have to be anyone's birthday, let alone a combination of their birthdays. But she actually got it to open. I really can't believe that. Well, that's just lazy writing. Social engineering hackers, write that down. Kentaro, he even's just like, how did you do that? It was a combination of all our birthdays. My birth date, your birth month, your mother's birth year, whatever she says, something like that. And amazingly, it actually worked. So what was in the safe? It was the bag. The bag that was floating around in the ocean for 40 years. How did it get there? I don't know. Is that implying the fisherman was their father? Maybe. Maybe. We don't know exactly what their father does for a living, given the fact that he had a giant map with locations that may come into play later. Given the fact that he had the bag and knew about what Monarch is, knew about the monsters. I don't know, maybe he had a side gig where he was a fisherman. I don't know, I didn't pay attention if the actor was the same. If they just de-aged him. Which they technically didn't need to do, because it took place 1 year ago. That bag was fished up in 2013. Well, actually 2 years ago. That bag was fished up in 2013, and now it's 2015. 1 year after the 2014 Godzilla movie San Francisco incident. Which, by the way, this film calls G-Day. Anyways, so they opened the bag and wow, 40 years floating in the salty ocean. Everything in there is perfect, clean, no damage whatsoever, at least visually. I still can't believe it. 40 years in the ocean. Not only was it found, but no damage at all. Oh. I said it was very impressive, very good, you know. The CGI quality, mwah, high budget. The acting, very good. Some of the storylines, questionable at times. Anyway, so Kentaro really ain't up for this, so Kate is just like, I'll make a deal with you. You help me figure this out, I will disappear from your life forever. And Kentaro actually goes along with it. You know, if I had a surprise secret sibling I never knew about, I'd be ecstatic to learn about my brother or sister, what they're like. This guy, on the other hand, no interest in learning about her sister whatsoever. Okay, so let's take a break and let's go back to the B plot for a second. So our characters, Lee, Billy, and Kay, they're over at the abandoned nuclear facility. They realize, with their gadgets, however they figured this out, that there's something underneath the facility. Something mildly radioactive, something that's present there. So let's go down there and find out what it is. So they plant explosives all over the facility. And they blow it up. Which damages the structures. No shit. But they found a way down. They go down and they see these glowing orbs that almost look like Dragon Balls. And they realize something's nest is here. These are eggs. Some sort of monster has laid its eggs here and has made this abandoned nuclear facility its nest. So now that they discovered eggs, they want to grab some organic samples, or they want some DNA samples to take back with them. Obviously, that's a stupid-ass idea. Lee is the only one who has any sort of sense of survival, while Billy and Kay, they are jumping for the opportunity to go down and collect some samples. Kay actually volunteers. She's already all tied up and ready to rope herself down, because according to her, she's the lightest. So she's the prime candidate. Alright, so Bill and Kay are on board. Lee is just like, oh, fuck it. We all gotta do this, right? Alright, 5 minutes. Get your sample and let's get out of here. Gee, what could go wrong, right? Okay, back to plot A. We see that Kentaro, helping his sister figure out what the stuff is, he meets up with someone who is very much not Japanese in Japan, a girl named May. And hey, it's Iris West! Not Candace Patton, Kiersey Clemens. She plays Iris West in the Flash movie. So here, Kiersey Clemens plays May. She's very not happy to see Kentaro. Kentaro's just like, please help us, I'll even pay you. Yes, I can't pay you much, I don't have that much money, but I'll make it worth your time. So it's kind of hinted that May and Kentaro had a relationship, but then he kind of ghosted her, and now he's showing up months later, offering to pay her for help with another woman. I'm going to assume he explained that this other woman is his sister, because May even acts like she knows she's his sister. She doesn't act like, damn, you already moved on with another woman? She doesn't act like that. She just straight up acts like she knows that's his sister. So I'm just going to assume he told her off screen. Anyway, so yeah, she goes back. We go back to her place, which according to her is the rent is cheap, even for Japan. So we go back to May's place, and she is able to hack into the materials inside of that bag very easily. She screwdrivers it open and just hacks on in. Obviously, there's encrypted code and firewalls, but that was technology 40 years ago. They can easily bypass that now. Oh, wait, I forgot to mention one thing. So, back at their father's office when they got the bag out of the safe, Kate looks at the bag and notices the Monarch logo. And then we flash back to the aftermath of the bridge. Kate sees these government officials in hazmat suits and actual suits just scanning the area, taking pictures, all with the Monarch logo on their uniforms and gear. And Kate has a hatred for them because they didn't help out. But instead, they were there taking pictures and collecting samples. She is literally traumatized by that. She's traumatized by the fact she couldn't help those kids and this government organization not helping. So she has a hatred for them, or at least very much a disdain for them. Anyways, so yeah, I forgot to say that. May, as she's hacking into the information, the Monarch headquarters on the other side of the planet gets a notification of a security breach on their computer? What? Wait, they were hacking into some sort of, I don't know, floppy disk from 40 years ago that was presumably lost at sea. And for some reason, hacking into it sends a signal to the headquarters that their information is being breached. So, you're telling me that technology 40 years ago that was lost is still connected to your servers and hard drives from the company now in present day, and that 40 years of floating in the saltwater ocean did not damage it to the point it was unusable. It didn't even rust. That thing was metal. No rust was on it. How airtight was that bag? It looked like a gym bag that opens with a zipper. No water got into that bag at all? In 40 years? Anyway, so yeah. The Monarch headquarters detected the breach. The lady at the computer goes to this other guy who works in a very small, dirty office. And it's implied that this character knows something. We don't know what yet, knows something. He gets told that the breach, we got a broad idea of where it's coming from, in Tokyo. So he calls up someone and asks, hey, how's your Japanese? So implying that Monarch is going to Japan. Alright, so back over in Japan, Kentaro and Mei, as they're hacking into this thing, they're seeing all of the information about the monsters. Kentaro is very upset still, so he speaks to Mei in Japanese, assuming that Kate doesn't speak Japanese, just because she's been speaking English this whole time, and she didn't grow up in Japan. She speaks to Mei privately in Japanese, being like, once again saying, if our father was here with us instead of over there with her, maybe he would still be here. Maybe he would still be alive. But of course, Kate being a Japanese person, despite growing up in America, and raised by your father, obviously would know Japanese, dumbass. It's like me. I grew up here, but I at least understand the broad surface of Chinese. Not the more popular Chinese nowadays. But still, you take me to Hong Kong, I won't understand majority of what people says. You can curse me out, and I'm just like, what'd you just say? You can say the most offensive swear words to me. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I don't know what you said. Thank you. Oh, bathroom that way? Great, thanks. Anyways. So we see pictures from the drive. We see a picture of a woman standing inside of the crater. In a crater of a giant footprint. And Kate just walks up and is like, wait a second. Why is there a picture of my grandmother on this? That picture, her grandmother, is Kay, the woman in the flashbacks along with Lee and Billy. Speaking of whom, let's go back to them in the B plot line. So they're about to shimmy down, and they're about to get some DNA samples from the eggs. But then, oh no, the ground keeps on breaking. Maybe because you idiots set off explosives. But yeah, the ground keeps breaking, and there's about to be no ground to stand on, so let's get out of here. And then, of course, would you believe it, who could have predicted this? The eggs start to hatch. Wow! Of all the timing. So, even Kay was able to realize these things kind of don't look like invertebrates. These guys inside the eggs kind of look insectoid. a giant insect kind of creature. And yeah, once the eggs start to hatch, they are hostile. These creatures were born, and the first thing they chose was violence. So, Lee and Kay, they run for their lives, go back to the rope to try to climb up, while Bill is at the top trying to pull them up on the other side of the rope. But these, nightmare fuel, these giant creatures kind of form a dog pile like ants do to try to get at them. Now, luckily, Lee won the coin toss because they were climbing up to get Kay instead. They did reach her leg, like they actually did grab onto her leg. And I was fully expecting her to scream in pain as her leg was being torn apart. But no, surprisingly not. So obviously there's a struggle. You kind of have a giant horde of monsters trying to pull you down and probably tear you apart. So if you let go, it is swift, horrible death. You know, Lee tries to help. He pulls out a gun and tries to shoot them. Oop. But there's only so much they can do. Billy on the top, well, he kind of loses his grip. He kind of loses his hold on the rope. So unfortunately, Kay falls down into the deep dark pit abyss, while the giant insect creatures have basically swarmed her body. She falls and vanishes. We don't know how high of a fall it is, but we can pretty much assume if the fall didn't kill her, then by the time she lands, those insects are going to rip her apart. That is Kate's grandmother. Which, at the moment, I'm kind of questioning how the hell does that make sense? Because if Kay was Kate's grandmother, then unless she survives this and goes on to have kids afterwards, that might imply she already has kids somewhere. But we see in the episode she's in a relationship with Bill, a white guy. And, I don't know about you, the lineage just doesn't look like it matches. Then again, what do I know? Because we do see in the episode a different flashback scene. We flash back to G-Day plus 5. Literally, it's written like that. So 5 days after G-Day, 5 days after the main events of the first Godzilla movie, we see Kate trying to call her father, because during the attack, the phone lines were down. She finally gets a hold of her father, and her father's standing right there. So Kate's trying to tell her dad, come on, let's go. Mom is over there waiting. She's been worried sick about you. But her dad just won't go. He's just like, I can't go with you. Here, I already made arrangements for you to leave to somewhere, wherever it was. I have tickets here for you. Hotel arrangements have already been made. I can't go with you. I have to go somewhere and get something done. You know, Kate is pleading for her father to don't leave. All this just happened. We just found you. Don't leave. But he's just like, I'm sorry. I love you both. Goodbye. And then we learn in the story, in Kate's story, that her father's plane was reported missing, vanished in a storm, and the remains were never found. So Kate assumes her father's dead. But we know the rules of TV and movies. If there isn't a body, then he's not dead. Just like innocent until proven guilty, alive until proven dead. Anyway, so I think I've babbled on long enough. There you go! The first episode of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. Very good episode, despite some of the very stupid plot points. Very good. I'm excited for the rest of the show. There's 10 episodes in Season 1. And Season 2 is going to air soon. Once again, I'm surprised just how much it connected to the actual films. Now remember, this takes place in the year 2015. 1 year after the first Godzilla movie in 2014. Decades after Kong Skull Island, because that also took place in the 70s. But the events of the other movies haven't happened yet. The events of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire, has not happened yet. So the incidences with, Godzilla vs. Kong, the fight in Hong Kong with Mechagodzilla has not happened yet. The events with Hollow Earth and... what was it, Brazil? Wherever the final fight was, that has not happened yet either. King of the Monsters, where did that take place in again? I forget where that took place. But yeah, all of those events haven't happened yet. Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, Mothra, none of that has happened yet. At this point, they are still years away. I'm going to assume that the movies take place... wait, the events take place the year the movies came out. Except for Kong Skull Island. So I'm going to assume that because the first Godzilla movie came out in 2014, it takes place in 2014. King of the Monsters in 2019, so the movie takes place in 2019. Shit, 2019 was 7 years ago. Godzilla vs. Kong 2021, so I assume the film takes place in 2021. And The New Empire, 2024. The next film, Supernova, is in 2027, so that's when I assume it will take place. So as of the show, as of episode 1, they are still 4 years away from the next monster incident with Ghidorah. Well, ain't this just a great day? Take off the rubber band. Okay, where's my stylus? Where is my stylus? Oh, there it is. Oh, I was speaking so much tonight, nerding out about shows that I'm about to lose my voice. Okay, let's recenter this. Finally! Another quick shiny. Hasn't had that happen... what? Has not had that happen since Palkia. Okay. First, skill swap. Trick. You know what? I haven't even practiced this yet. I don't know what moves to use. Oh, right. Scyther. Whoops. I was about to say, I don't know what moves to use to damage it. Please just don't one-shot me. Damn. I kind of don't want to use False Swipe again, because that'll put it in the red. Man, screw it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try catching it without damaging more. Roto Catch. Alright, so obviously, Thundurus being an electric type, I cannot paralyze it. So did I bring anything like Hypnosis or Yawn to put it to sleep? No. I swear, I tried. I could have sworn I had something that had either Hypnosis or Yawn. Like something ready-made. I looked, doesn't seem like I did. Because I swear, the last time I hunted for Landorus, I failed it. And then, I came prepared this time with... No, wait, that's not how it happened. The last time I hunted Landorus, I did prepare with something that can put it to sleep. I failed it. So then the next time I said, screw it, I'm not gonna use sleep. And then I caught it. I reclaimed it. So I could have sworn I had something that can put to sleep. I tried looking in my entire PC box, I couldn't find it. So this is what we're gonna do. I will not damage it any further. We will just continue to throw Pokeballs until it catches. At least I went over the shows just in time. Like I finished discussing them. And then the shiny showed up. Well, actually, I don't have as many Pokeballs on this game as I do the other one. The other game I had over 900 Pokeballs. This one I only have 120 something. I have 122. Maybe I should have bought more balls before. Oh no, I'm getting nervous. I only have 121 Pokeballs left. How many healing items do I have on this file, actually? That's a better question. Max Potion, I have 12. You think if Thundurus used charge and then a discharge that crits, you think that'll knock me out? I guess we'll never find out. I don't need no goddamn sleep. I got Bashful Nature. One more hunt and then we're done. We can move on with this dumbassery. And we can finally start playing games again. Wait, did I say just one more? Could have sworn I said that I was gonna add one more to this kind of hunt afterwards. Did I even save the game yet? Well, here's the squad again. Remember when we got Yuxi? When we started this stupidity? It's almost been a year. We have one more left. One more, and then this stupid challenge is over. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna call it for tonight. Next time we will do the final hunt, and we will be done. Next time we will hunt for Thundurus, and that'll be it. I'll see you guys next time. Well shit, if I run out of things to shiny hunt, how am I gonna talk about all of these shows?